Ole Miss women's also in action yesterday. The women hosting number 19 Alabama and getting out to a hot start. They go on a 7-0 run and force Bama to take an early timeout after the fast break layup from star Jacobs. The Rebs going up by as many as 9 in the first quarter thanks to 2 threes from Kennedy Todd Williams. And Madison Scott, with this bucket right here, becomes just the 8th Rebel in program history to surpass 1,500 career points with Ole Miss. But then the tide started to turn the tide. Pardon the pun, yeah. Thanks to a flurry of threes from Zay Green and Aaliyah Nye, the Rebs found themselves down by as many as 12 in the second half. Ole Miss managed to get back within 2 scores in the fourth quarter, thanks to a career-high 21 points and 12 rebounds from star Jacobs. But every time the Rebs picked up momentum, Nye and Green diffused it with a long-range bucket. The Bama duo combined for 59 points and 11 of the Tide's 12 three-pointers to hand Ole Miss their second loss in the SEC, 84-78.
It's no way we let 2 people just do that. 2 people do that. That is a pride thing. That is a wanting to get a stop thing. They wanted to bounce back, and we had an opportunity to get a ranked win, so we should have wanted to do something, and their kids did it and we didn't. And, I'm embarrassed to say that because that is not what my program has been built on. But here we are, so we have to just continue to work on it.
Yeah, Alabama was just coming off a really embarrassing and big loss on Thursday, and so you could tell they came out with a fire in their belly. But like Coach Yo just mentioned, Ole Miss should have also had that same fire. Like, we have a chance to make a statement right here in front of a great crowd. I was so impressed. Yeah, a massive crowd there in Oxford on Sunday afternoon, and get a ranked win at home and kind of boosted your standings in the SEC, but instead a second loss. And I can understand why she said she was embarrassed. I mean, to allow 2 players to score 11 threes on you, they just had no answers on defense. And Coach Yo was saying, well, they just didn't come to play. They didn't have that fight. And she was like, I can't instill fight in them. They have to go out in that court and want to fight themselves. Yeah. And I mean, they just really weren't doing it. They've played Ole Miss, the number 1, 3, and 5 teams in the country, and never given up that many points in the third and fourth quarter. Allowed 53 points, 84 total. That's 11 more points than what they allowed against UConn, which was their, up until that point, the most points they'd allowed in a loss or in a game in general this season. So, and you're talking about a UConn team that is very, very good and knows how to score. So the defense from Ole Miss just wasn't on. You saw that first run, they get up to a 9-point lead. You're like, oh, okay, the Rebels are here. They came to play. And then all of a sudden, things just start to switch, and Ole Miss just couldn't get in, and those 3-pointers, I mean, I was sitting there watching. I had fans behind me in the crowd just being like, again? Man, she can shoot. And I'm thinking the same thing. Wow, these girls can shoot. Like, those 3-pointers were just phenomenal. They're doing it with hands in their faces from well deep and just nailing it. Every time they got the ball, it's like, here we go again. Like, you just couldn't even think that they weren't going to make it because they were on fire. And I mean, part of that, I understand where Coach Yo is coming from, is I need to see more fight in my defense, but part of that is also just, man, those 2 girls were really on fire yesterday and playing clutch games.
Sometimes when you're hot, you're hot.
Yeah.
Right? These are incredible athletes. They're D1 athletes. Some of them are going to go play pro, play overseas, whatever it is. Sometimes you walk into a game and you're hot, you're hot. Other times it's like, yo, where the defense at? You know what I'm saying? What we doing here?
I think it was a bit of both.
Coach, I mean, listening to Coach Yo in that presser, that's about as heated as I've really ever heard her in a press conference setting. I've certainly seen her fired up on sidelines throughout the year and that kind of thing, but for her, you could tell she was so angry. Aaliyah Nye's 32 points, 7 of 11 from 3. Zay Green, 27 points, 4 of 5 for 3. They shoot 12 of 19, 60-ish% from the 3-point line. You're not going to win games that way. Really, you're never going to win games that way when you allow a team to shoot that well. The Alabama Crimson Tide, the highest number of threes they hit this year was 14. So you almost gave them a new season high in this particular matchup. It's certainly disappointing. You allowed them to shoot 56% from the floor. You're not going to win games that way. On the offensive side for Ole Miss, Star Jacobs was great. She had a double-double, 21 points, 12 rebounds. I love the way she was getting to the free throw line. She was aggressive and just kind of felt like, who's coming with me? Who's coming with me? And she never really got an answer. And so you drop one at home. Really disappointing. You want to have those ranked wins. You're talking about, your Bart Torvik and your Ken Palm rankings, and that doesn't play as big a role on the women's side of college basketball, but still important. And you want all these conference wins whenever you can get one. And for them to come out essentially flat on the defensive side of the ball, just disappointing. And you got to go back to the drawing board and try it again this week.
Yeah, you talk about those threes coming into the game. Ole Miss, they had the number one fewest points allowed in the entire nation. And then for 3 points, they were allowing an average of 3.1 per game. Then they go and give 12 away. And like we said, look, the Alabama players, they were hot. They were on fire. Those threes were going in whether you liked it or not. But at the same time, from 3 to 12,
You got to make it difficult.
that's a big jump.
Make it difficult
Yeah.
somewhere. I don't know.
It was crazy.
Foul them. I don't know. Well, don't foul them on the 3-point line, but you know what I'm saying. Like you gotta rough them up a little bit.
And to your point about the points and Star Jacobs like doing so well, getting 21 points, you kind of felt like Kennedy Todd Williams was going to go with her. She had those first threes in those first quarter, 2 threes, gets 6 points like that, and then is laying it up and then doing whatever else. But she just kind of dropped off. I mean, she was still ended in double digits. Yeah, not a bad performance, but. Ole Miss actually, like, it kind of, I didn't really notice it in the fourth quarter because I was so concentrated on the fact that I was like...
They scored 32 points in the fourth.
They scored, that's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
They scored 32 points. Like, that's still a really, like, that's a lot of points. For those two teams put up that many points, just not used to seeing it. And I mean, Coach Yo said, this isn't what this team is built on. Like, I'm not going to let any team put up that many points. That's not, we shouldn't have to put up 32 points in the fourth quarter to
Coach
win.
Yo said if we had played any lick of defense, y'all would be talking about how good our offense is when we scored 32 in the fourth quarter. But you can't talk about it because the defense was really kind of abysmal to the point. I mean, you had in the read there that Madison Scott goes over 1,500 points, and you asked Coach Yo in the press conference about it. And Coach Yo was like, I mean, it's cool, but we lost. We can't even celebrate it today. So, you know, she was obviously, she knows how good of a player Madison Scott has been to the program for a number of years now. But for her to be like, we can't even celebrate it because we played so poorly that it's almost like you can't even feel good about, you know, hitting a milestone like that. So they'll be okay.
Yeah.
You know, they're a good team. Coach Yo has really, they've really improved year over year since she's been there. And I think they're going to be fine. They're going to learn from this one. Again, this is a ranked team. Right, in Alabama. So it's not like you were playing, you know, bums. Playing a good team.
Not at all.
And sometimes when you play a good team, you know, they play well and you don't. And that's kind of lay of the land there.
Yeah, and I mean, we spoke to some of the players after. Star Jacobs kind of said the exact same thing. Like, this is a learning opportunity for us. It's the only way we can look at it. We're disappointed, but we need to use this as motivation. And I kind of expect them to come out the way that Alabama came out. Ole Miss have Florida on Thursday, and then Mississippi State on the road as well in that battle on Sunday.